The nutrition in human beings is actually of holozoic type. Nutrition is holozoic type. In human beings, the nutrition is of holozoic types, which means that in humans, the food is taken as solid form and is digested inside the body. So the digestion in humans is extracellular. Extracellular, that is not inside the cell. In humans, the digestion is extracellular. So this digestion involves the processes which is ingestion, means taking the food inside the body. Digestion means breakdown of these complex macromolecules, that is carbohydrate, protein, fat, into small small absorbable nutrients, that is breakdown of big macromolecules of the food and convert them into small absorbable nutrients is known as digestion. The third step involves absorption, the fourth is assimilation and digestion. Absorption is absorption of the small nutrients, the assimilation is their transport where it is needed, and digestion is the throwing out of waste from the body, that is undigested material from the body is known as digestion. Now nutrition in human beings starts right from mouth. The nutrition digestion generally starts right from mouth, where we take in food. Teeth are used for grinding. Tongue has also some function in this, that is rolling of food, tasting of food, and also help in swallowing the food. Matlab tongue is also used in swallowing the food, not just the taste matters, the function also. Now there are salivary glands present in the mouth, which is present outside buccal cavity. Note it, very important, this is outside buccal cavity. The glands are present out of buccal cavity, not in the buccal cavity. These glands secrete salivary amylase. These glands secrete salivary amylase, which converts starch into sugar. Starch into sugar. The sugar is maltose. Generally, maltose, glucose, or fructose. It is converted into the starch is converted into glucose, maltose, fructose, which are different types of sugars. The salivary gland secretion, that is saliva and mucus. So saliva is used in breaking of starch into simple sugar like glucose and maltose, and the mucus lubricates the food and make it easy for it to move down the esophagus Now in esophagus, the food just moves down. No digestion in esophagus. Noted, there is no digestion in esophagus. Food generally just moves down the esophagus. No digestion due to absence of any enzyme. No enzymes present, so no digestion there. Here is a very important term called peristalsis or peristaltic movement. So this is the movement of GIT, movement in the musculature of GIT, where the food travels down the GIT, gastrointestinal tract, that is from mouth to anus, is a single pipe called GIT, in which our digestion takes place. So GIT facilitates movement through peristalsis. GIT facilitates movement through peristalsis. So understand what peristalsis just means. So for example, this is food pipe. When the food enters here, it expands like this. Now further on going down, the shape turns like this. This process is called peristaltic movement. Okay, let us turn one more. This is esophagus, here is food. When the food goes down, the shape of esophagus shifts like this. Further, food is going down, the shape is like this. Further, when it goes down, It is like this. So this is the peristalsis movement. This is the movement of the gastrointestinal tract. Gastrointestinal tract, that is from anus to small intestine, mouth to anus. The movement in the musculature of mouth to anus, that is GIT, is of the type gas peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement. And this, now come to esophagus. This esophagus opens into stomach by a cardiac sphincter. So there are two terms: a sphincter. What is this? A sphincter and valve. So what is sphincter? What is valve? So sphincters are similar to valves. This is valve. This is sphincter. A sphincter generally controls the movement. It controls the movement, whether to go or not go, and if to go, how much to go. Whereas this valve controls the backflow, and the sphincter controls the movement, how much to go, what not to go. How much to go is controlled by sphincter muscles, and what, that is backflow. Backflow is controlled by, backflow means backflow of blood, controlled by the valves, and how much to go is controlled by sphincter. When to go is controlled by sphincter muscles. So now stomach has gastric glands which secrete gastric juice, which contains HCl and pepsine. HCl and pepsine and bicarbonate ion. HCl, pepsine and bicarbonate ion are secreted by HCl, pepsine and bicarbonate ion, and mucus too. And mucus too is secreted by the gastric juice, contains pepsine, HCl and mucus. Pepsine, HCl. Pepsine breaks protein into peptones. HCl makes medium acidic, which is important for functioning of pepsine. So HCl makes medium acidic due for the functioning of pepsine. That is, pepsine needs an acidic medium for its function, and mucus protects the lining of stomach. From the harmful effect of hydrochloric acid. Okay, now small intestine. So small intestine also contains in secretes enzymes which digest carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. They has names, but you need not to go such deep in that. I can tell you, but just time pass for that. You need not to go so deep. So just remember it has enzymes to degenerate carbohydrate, break down fats and proteins. So carbohydrates are broken into glucose, fats are broken into fatty acid and glycerols, and proteins are broken into amino acid. Carbohydrates into glucose, fat into fatty acid and glycerol, protein into amino acids. Now there is very important feature of small intestine you might have learned earlier. Willies. These are finger-like projections like this to increase the absorbable surface area of small intestine. To increase the absorbable surface area of small intestine, these villi are present. These are nothing, that is, there is a mucosa layer, and these are extension of this mucosa layer present in the small intestine. It is simply, these are finger-like projections present in the small intestine to increase the absorbable area for the more and more absorption of food. Now, small intestine also receives secretion of liver and pancreas. Also receives the secretion from liver and pancreas. So from liver it receives bile juice, and from pancreas it receives trypsin and lipase. The bile juice emulsified fats. So this is a big molecule of fat. This is broken into small molecules by this bile juice. This bile juice breaks the big fat molecule into small by the process. This is known as emulsification. So emulsification is the process of breaking of big molecule of fat into small molecule by the lipase. By the bile juice, the big molecule of fat is broken into small molecule of fat, and the process is known as emulsification. Now the pancreatic juice contains trypsin and lipase. Trypsin changes proteins into peptones and fats into glycerols. Proteins into peptones and fats into glycerols. Protein into peptone and fat into glycerols are changed by lipase. Protein into peptine by trypsin. Now the emulsific large intestine. So what is large intestine? It absorbs the excess of water. It absorbs the excess of water. The excess of water is absorbed by the large intestine, and the rest material is removed from the body via anus, and this process is called egestion. So the food which is throat removed out of the body which is undigested is known as egestion, and the removed material is called fecal matter, or yes, fecal matter it is called by the large intestine, and the absorption takes place in large intestine is of water. Now what we have learned till now is, let us concise it, or let us go to the diagram. We will learn here all these things. So now start. So digestion of food starts from the oral cavity, where the salivary gland secretes saliva and break carbohydrates into small sugars. For example, starch is broken into maltose or glucose. Now the food moves down the esophagus, and in esophagus there is a type of movement called peristalsis movement. In esophagus there is a type of movement called peristalsis movement, which is throughout the GIT for the movement of food. Now here is the food comes now the food comes to stomach. The food comes to stomach, and in stomach the food is partially digested. At least 30% of the proteins are digested in the stomach by the pepsins. Pepsins digest proteins and break them into peptones. There is also secretion of HCl by the gastric glands, which acidifies the medium, which is important from the functioning of pepsin. Now this food goes to the small intestine, and small intestine receives the secretion of liver and pancreas. The secretion of liver is stored in gallbladder. Important, the secretion of liver, that is bile, is stored in gallbladder, and the gallbladder sends it through the common hepatic duct to small intestine. The pancreas secretes trypsin and lipase, which is secreted by pancreas and goes into small intestine, and all together they function as digestive enzymes. And as a digestive enzyme, the trypsin digests proteins into trypsin digests proteins, and the lipase digests the fats into glycerol. Now there is important point for all of you, that the big molecules are broken by pancreatic juice into small molecules. Like proteins into peptones, carbohydrate into maltose, and fat into glycerols, and fats into monoglycerides and diglycerides. But the intestinal juice functions as the most important digestive enzyme, that is the biomolecules, that is peptones, maltose, and fats, that is monoglyceride, protons, peptones into amino acid, maltose into glucose, and this, that is fats, that is monoglycerides into glycerol, and fatty acid are converted by this small intestine enzymes, that is intestine enzymes, the enzymes of small intestine are all together called succus entericus. What is called succus entericus? The small intestine is divided into three parts: duodenum, jejunum. Duodenum is the highly coiled where digestion takes place, jejunum where absorption takes place, and ileum is the largest part of small intestine. This is appendix present in the large intestine, which is uh, vestigial organ. It functions as digestion of cellulose. What appendix digests help in digestion of cellulose? Cellulose present in cell wall. So cellulose digestion is done by appendix, or we can know cecum present here. This is cecum. This digest cellulose. Now the food goes through the large intestine where water absorption takes place, and then it is into the rectum where it is stored until an urge to defecation we feel, and finally it is excreted, that it is ejected through anus, and hence our digestion completes. Okay, so thank you. We will meet in the next lecture where we will deal respiration. So now the topics are small. We will deal respiration in the next topic. Hope you have understand this topic, that is nutrition, completely. If you have any doubts, please go down in the comment section, mention this, and I will be eager to solve these doubts for you. Now nothing to say more about. Subscribe the channel, the brilliant tutorials, we are always ready to help you to learn how the way you learn. So thank you for watching. And
The Brilliant Tutorials CBSE and BSEB 3rd to 12th Amarpura Road, Naubatpur, Patna 801.